mixed martial arts legend Dan Hardy. Everything Dan Hardy. Massive announcement for PFL, massive announcement for UK MMA. What does this mean for for mixed martial arts getting a more mainstream appeal in the UK? Because obviously Bellator now on BBC, PFL coming to Channel 4. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
It's exactly what we need. You know, the way to grow the sport is to make it accessible for free by accident. You know, you want those people late at night skipping through the channels, and all of a sudden they see two guys punching each other in the face, or two ladies punching each other in the face, and they're like, okay, this is interesting. I'll stick on this, and you know they get sucked into it. And the fact that they've got that platform now, Channel 4 is going to really push PFL into Europe, and I think it's going to let everybody know that we've got other platforms that the UK fighters can fight on. And when you hang that $1 million in front of them as well, you get some special performances.
Well, it's obviously like you say, when you put the $1 million in front of it, obviously that's an attention grabber. But you've also got with PFL, there's so many names. You know, people who have come up through PFL, people who have come up through the regionals. But you've also got guys like Anthony Pettis, former champions, Rory McDonald, all these big guys. How important is it to have these big mainstay names of MMA to help sort of push the brand into maybe a more legitimate sort of view in the mainstream?
I think it's really important because obviously, you know, people know Rory McDonald, they know Pettis, you know, they know Shoeface, and they know Brendan Loughnane, and you know, like when you have these high-level fighters, you know what you get from Rory McDonald and Pettis. You put them in there with somebody else that's on the PFL roster, and then we get to find out how good those unknown fighters are. You know, this is the thing. They're lending their name and their fame to these fighters that aren't quite as well known. And the fact that the PFL can make these matchups and give these lesser-known fighters opportunities against the big names is really what's going to establish them. Because then people will realize that MMA is not all in one organization. It's dispersed across all the organizations, and the talent is everywhere.
So obviously yourself are very involved in grassroots MMA. You're bringing up a lot of big guys into, hopefully, big prospects coming up. Obviously, I was speaking to you earlier about guys like Thomas Owen and stuff who are fighting in Golden Ticket next month. How important having these platforms in the UK is it for the grassroots guys like that to have something other than the UFC? It's not just I got to get to Cage Warriors UFC. It's like I can get to PFL and still get just as big a viewing as I would do in the UFC.
It's massive. You know, the big problem is that if everybody's walking the same path, that path gets very crowded and very much in demand. And then obviously, you know, purses come down and people get taken for granted. With the sport being dispersed and with fighters having different options and different ways to get to the top and to make a lot of money, I feel like it's a benefit to everybody. You know, there are a lot of guys in the UK that are going to need these kind of platforms to be able to get on Channel 4, to be able to get some sponsors to pay for their training, pay for their career to start with, until they get to the stage where they're a world-class fighter. And you know, as you said, I have a lot of young guys coming up, and the main problem is I can't keep them active enough. Like these animals want to fight every weekend, you know, like I just can't keep them busy enough because you've got 30% of the guys in the sport want to be fighting every weekend, and 60% want to be known as a fighter but don't actually want to fight. You know, and this is the problem with the grassroots organisations, is that they're having to deal with the people that really want to get to the top of the sport and make it a career, and the people that want to tell their mate they do cage fighting. And like to bring legitimacy, to bring professionalism, the PFL to the country, it means that I can start putting some of these guys on a show where I know they're going to be active and matched up and regularly competing. Because to keep them motivated for training when they're not got fights coming up is incredibly difficult. You know, they drift off and they eat too much, and you know they lose focus. Like if you're locked into a season, you know you've got regular fights, you stay on the ball. I think this is a really exciting time for mixed martial arts in Europe, and PFL is really adding to that.
Definitely is. Just one more completely random other question. So obviously you got UFC London coming up, first event in the UK for quite a while. I tried to get tickets, much like 90% of fans wasn't able to get tickets. Do you think there's something needs to change with companies like Ticketmaster being in charge of this? Because within minutes of it going online, they were on resale for about 3 times the price.
It's not what we want for the UK MMA fans, is it? Because the problem is the people making the profit on these they're not the fighters, and it's not even the promoters at this stage. The promoters sell their tickets, and then 2/3 of the price goes to the people that are quick enough to get in there and buy the tickets before somebody else gets them. Some actual fans that want to be in the arena. I've had messages all week from people. Can I get tickets? Where can I get tickets from? Like, I couldn't get tickets right now. You know, I would be standing outside with the O2 Arena with you. It's a nightmare. And what we don't want is for hardcore MMA fans that have been following the sport for many, many years to be paying 3 times the amount to put some money into the pocket of a ticket tout. That needs to be taken care of. You know, whether we have printed names and phone numbers, whether you need ID to go with your ticket so you know the person that bought the ticket is the one that's using it. Whatever the solution is, something needs to happen.
Awesome. Well, Dan, thanks for chatting with me, man. I'll let you get on because I think everyone else has left the room now. So, thank you.